This story is titled, "My Daughter Invited Me to Her Graduation," then whispered, "You can sit in the back. We don't want you in the photos." Her mother laughed and added, "Dress smart, you represent the janitor side of the family." I didn't argue, just clapped from the bleachers. That night, my phone exploded with messages after what I did during her speech. When your daughter hands you a graduation invitation with manicured fingers that you helped pay for 3 years of overtime, you expect to feel pride. Instead, all I felt was the sting of her words. "You can sit in the back rows. We don't want you in the family photos." Sarah, 18F, didn't even look me in the eye as she said it, too busy texting on the phone I bought her last Christmas. We were standing in the parking lot of her private school, the one I'd worked 2 jobs to help afford after the divorce. "It's not personal, Dad," she continued, finally glancing up. "It's just, Mom's new husband is wearing his doctor's robes since he's part of the Alumni Association. And you're—" She gestured vaguely at my work uniform. I'd come straight from my shift as head maintenance supervisor at Memorial Hospital. The janitor side of the family. Karen, 45F, my ex-wife, finished the sentence with that familiar smirk as she walked up. 15 years of marriage had taught me every variation of that expression. To try to dress appropriately, Tom. This is Sarah's big day. I looked down at my uniform, the one that had put Sarah through this expensive school, paid for her dance lessons, her braces, her summer camps. The one that had covered Karen's alimony until she married Dr. Richard Thompson 3 years ago. "I'll find something suitable," I said quietly. "And remember, back rows only." Karen's designer purse swung as she turned away. "We don't want to explain." "Well, you know." I watched them walk to Karen's new Mercedes, another gift from Richard. Sarah didn't look back. These days, she never did. Back in my truck, I pulled out the graduation program Sarah had reluctantly handed over. She was giving the valedictorian speech. Following in Richard's footsteps, Karen had gloated earlier. He was valedictorian here too, you know. What they didn't know was that I had something planned for graduation night. Something that would make them remember the janitor side of the family for a very long time. I started my old truck, the one Sarah refused to be seen in anymore. As I drove away, I could see them in my rearview mirror, laughing about something. Probably me. That was fine. Let them laugh. They'd learn soon enough that sometimes the people you look down on have the best view of your fall. The rental suit felt stiff and foreign on my body. $60, almost a full day's wages, to look presentable for my own daughter's graduation. I stood in front of the mirror in my small apartment, adjusting the tie that the rental place had thrown in for free, probably out of pity. I decided to try one more time, to reach out to my daughter before it was too late. My hand shook slightly as I dialed her number. "Dad?" Sarah sounded annoyed. "I'm kind of busy right now. We're doing graduation rehearsal." "I know, honey. I wanted to talk about the seating arrangements." A heavy sigh. "We already discussed this. Sarah, I'm your father. Your real father. I should be sitting with the family, not hidden away in the back like some." "Like some what, Dad? Some maintenance man?" Her voice turned cold, just like her mother's. "Richard will be in his alumni robes. He's on the school board. Do you know how important that is?" "I know how important I am." My voice cracked. "I know who paid for your braces. Who worked overtime for your dance lessons. Who?" "Oh my God. Are you seriously going to do this now? Play the martyr about money again?" I could hear voices in the background, probably her new real family. "Richard pays for everything now, Dad. He's the one who matters in this world. His connections got me into Yale, not your janitor money." The words hit like physical blows. "What about photos? Every father should have graduation photos with his daughter." "Photos?" She laughed, that same cruel laugh Karen had perfected years ago. "Dad, these are going in the alumni newsletter. Richard's colleagues will see them. His doctor friends. What would they think if—" She trailed off. "If they saw your real father? If they saw someone like you standing next to me?" Her voice was dismissive now. "Look, I've got to go. Richard's taking us all out to dinner in his new Tesla. Just remember what Mom said. Back rows. And please make sure that suit isn't too obviously a rental." The line went dead. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, at the man in the borrowed suit who wasn't good enough to stand next to his own daughter. Something dark and cold settled in my chest. All these years of swallowing their contempt, of accepting their dismissals, of trying to be the bigger person. For what? So my daughter could be embarrassed by my existence? I walked to my bedroom closet and pulled out the sealed envelope I'd been saving. Inside was something that would make graduation night unforgettable. Something that would make them remember every moment they'd looked down on the janitor side of the family. You want me in the back rows, Sarah? I whispered to the empty room. Fine. That's the perfect spot to watch everything fall apart. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. Heavy with 15 years of swallowed pride. Heavy with a father's broken heart. Heavy with the weight of revenge. The envelope contained a single sheet of paper, a printed email I'd discovered while cleaning Richard's office at Memorial Hospital 6 months ago. As head of maintenance, I had access to every room, including the executive offices. That night, while emptying his trash, I noticed his computer screen was still on, emails open. I shouldn't have looked. But something caught my eye, Sarah's name in the subject line. The email was from Richard to the Yale Admissions Board, with copies of large bank transfers attached. Not donations to the school, direct payments to an admissions officer. The pristine acceptance letter Sarah bragged about? Bought and paid for, just like everything else in their perfect life. Your connections got me into Yale, she'd sneered at me earlier. If only she knew what those connections really were. I'd printed it immediately, knowing someday I might need it. Now, reading it again in my small apartment, the words jumped out. Regarding candidate Sarah Mitchell, payment processed as discussed. Ensure early acceptance. Discretion appreciated. Additional considerations available if needed. Sarah's valedictorian speech was about merit and hard work. About how excellence isn't bought, it's earned. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so bitter. My phone buzzed. Another text from Sarah. Remember, back rows only tomorrow. And Dad? Try not to tell anyone what you do for a living. I looked at the email printout again. Richard's digital signature was right there at the bottom, along with the transaction numbers. The great doctor, the prestigious alumni board member, caught buying his stepdaughter's way into Yale. One copy to the school board during her speech. One to the local newspaper. One to Yale's admissions office. Nothing complicated, nothing elaborate, just the truth they'd tried so hard to hide. Don't worry, Sarah, I said to my empty apartment. Tomorrow, everyone will forget all about what your real father does for a living. They'll be too busy talking about what your stepfather did for your future. I sealed the copies in separate envelopes and set them beside my rental suit. Tomorrow would be interesting, especially from my seat in the back rows. The pre-graduation reception was held in the school's grand hall. I stood in the corner, the envelope heavy in my rental suit pocket, watching families take photos together. Every father beaming with pride beside their graduate. Every family complete. Maybe I was wrong about this. Maybe I should give Sarah one last chance. After all, she was still my little girl, the same one who used to run to me with scraped knees and broken toys, trusting Daddy to fix everything. I saw her standing with a group of her friends, radiant in her white graduation gown. Before I could lose my nerve, I walked over. Sarah, could we talk for a minute? She turned, her smile instantly falling. Dad? I thought we agreed you'd stay in the back. Please, just give me 5 minutes. In private. Her friends were already staring, whispering behind their hands. One girl asked loudly, Sarah, isn't that the hospital janitor? Sarah's face flushed red. He's nobody. Just someone who used to help around the house. The words hit me like a physical blow. 15 years of love and sacrifice reduced to nobody. That's when Richard appeared, deliberately bumping into me with his cocktail. The red wine spread across my rented suit like a bloodstain. Oh dear, he smirked, not even pretending it was an accident. I hope that suit didn't cost too much to rent. The polyester blend is rather obvious. The group erupted in laughter. Sarah didn't even try to hide her smirk. Honey, Richard called to Karen, who was nearby. Perhaps we should direct the cleaning staff where they belong? The help shouldn't mingle with the guests. Karen walked over, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. Tom, this is embarrassing. Know your place. My place. My voice shook. I'm her father. We're her father, Richard corrected. Now you're just the maintenance man who can't afford a proper suit. Sarah stepped forward, her voice cold. Dad, just go. You're ruining everything. Like always. Ruining everything? I wiped futilely at the wine stain. Like paying for your education ruined everything? Like working overtime for your braces ruined everything? Oh God, not the money thing again. Sarah rolled her eyes at her friends. Richard pays for everything now. He's the only father I need. The envelope felt like it was burning in my pocket. All my doubts about using it vanished in that moment. You know what? I straightened up, looking at their smug faces. You're right. I'm just the janitor. The nobody. The help. I started backing away. But remember this moment. All of you. Remember exactly how you treated the man who spent 15 years making sure his daughter had everything she needed. Are you done with your little speech? Richard laughed. The ceremony's starting soon, and we need family photos. Real family only, of course. I turned and walked away, their laughter following me. The wine-stained suit would have to do for the ceremony. But it didn't matter anymore. Because from my seat in the back row, I'd have the perfect view when their perfect world came crashing down. The reception hall buzzed with celebration. Graduates and their families mingled around elegant buffet tables while photographers captured perfect family moments. I stood alone, my wine-stained rental suit drawing disapproving glances. Richard was holding court near the cake table, surrounded by admiring parents. Yes, Sarah's Yale acceptance was entirely on merit. We're so proud of her achievements. He caught my eye and smirked. Some children just have better breeding, I suppose. Something snapped inside me. As I walked past the cake table, my elbow accidentally caught the edge of Richard's plate. Chocolate cake splattered across his pristine doctor's robes. You clumsy oaf, he sputtered, dabbing at the stain. This is what happens when you let the help attend proper functions. Where are your manners? Did they not teach basic etiquette in janitor school? The surrounding parents tittered. I leaned in close, my mouth near his ear, and whispered, "Speaking of teaching, how much did Sarah's Yale acceptance actually cost you?" The admissions officer's price was quite specific in that email. The color drained from his face. What did you say? You heard me. Head of maintenance has access to every office and Memorial Hospital, including yours, including your unlocked computer. His forced laugh couldn't hide the panic in his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. Bank transfers, direct payments, additional considerations if needed. Ring any bells, doctor? He grabbed my arm, pulling me away from the crowd. Listen here, you piece of trash. No, you listen. I yanked free of his grip. I have copies. Multiple copies. One for the school board, one for Yale's admissions office, one for the local paper. Wonder what they'd think about the prestigious Dr. Thompson buying his stepdaughter's future. You wouldn't dare. But his voice shook. Think about Sarah. You destroy her chances. Like you destroyed her relationship with her real father? Like you taught her to mock the man who spent 15 years sacrificing everything for her. Richard glanced around nervously, then pulled out his checkbook. $20,000. Right now. Just give me the copies. 20,000? I laughed. That's what you think this is worth? Your medical license? Your reputation? Sarah's Yale acceptance. 30,000 then. Final offer. His hands were shaking as he wrote the check. Take it and disappear. It's more than you'd make in a year of cleaning toilets. I looked across the room at Sarah, watching us with concern. At Karen, already walking over with her practiced look of disdain. You know what's funny, Richard? For a moment, I actually considered taking your money. But then I remembered something. I pulled out one of the envelopes. I remembered every time you looked down on me. Every time you taught my daughter to be ashamed of her father. Every time you acted superior because you wear a white coat and I wear a maintenance uniform. Please, his voice dropped to a desperate whisper. I'll do anything. Sarah will never forgive you if you do this. Sarah stopped being my daughter the moment she called me nobody in front of her friends. The moment she decided your blood money was worth more than her father's honest work. Karen reached us. What's going on here? Tom, are you bothering Richard? I smiled, watching Richard's face contort with fear. Just congratulating the good doctor on Sarah's Yale acceptance. Such an expensive achievement. Get him out of here, Richard hissed to Karen. Now, you can't kick me out, I said calmly. I have an invitation. Back rows only, remember? Perfect spot to watch Sarah's valedictorian speech. Perfect spot to watch everything fall apart. I'll destroy you, Richard grabbed my lapel. I have connections. You'll never work in this town again. Go ahead. Fire me. Blacklist me. But remember, I'm just a janitor. I have nothing left to lose. You? You have everything to lose. And in about 30 minutes, when Sarah starts her speech about merit and hard work, you're going to lose it all. I straightened my stained suit and walked away, leaving Richard pale and shaking. Karen was asking him what was wrong, but he couldn't speak. I heard him knock over a glass trying to reach for it. From across the room, Sarah watched the scene unfold with confusion. She had no idea that her perfect world was about to shatter. No idea that her speech about earning success was about to become the greatest irony of the evening. I took my assigned seat in the back row, the envelopes ready. Sometimes the best view of justice isn't from the front row. It's from the back, where no one sees you coming. The graduation ceremony began with all the pomp you'd expect from an elite private school. From my back row seat, I could see Richard fidgeting nervously in his front row position, constantly looking back at me. Every time our eyes met, he'd quickly turn away, tugging at his collar. Karen sat beside him, beaming with pride, completely oblivious to her husband's distress. She'd arranged their entire row with military precision. Richard's doctor friends, their wives, professional photographers ready to capture the perfect family moment. Then Sarah took the stage for her valedictorian speech. My daughter, beautiful, poised, and so completely corrupted by their world. Success isn't handed to us, she began, her voice clear and confident. It's earned through hard work and dedication. In this room, we represent the best and brightest, chosen purely on merit. I watched Richard nearly choke on these words. 3 copies of his email sat ready in my lap. My journey to Yale wasn't just about grades, Sarah continued. It was about character, about proving yourself worthy through honest effort. My hand tightened around the first envelope, addressed to the school board chairman, who was sitting right behind Richard. I'd like to thank those who showed me what real success looks like. Sarah's voice carried through the hall. Especially my father, Dr. Richard Thompson, who taught me that excellence can't be bought. That true achievement comes from. I stood up quietly. Richard's head whipped around, his face ashen. I took one step toward the aisle, envelope in hand. That's when Richard cracked. He stumbled to his feet, interrupting Sarah mid-sentence. I need to say something, he blurted out, his voice shaking. The audience fell silent. Sarah stood frozen at the podium. Richard, what are you doing? Karen hissed. I haven't been honest. His eyes were fixed on my envelope. Sarah's Yale acceptance. I made some mistakes. Serious mistakes. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Sarah's confident smile began to crumble. I paid, he continued, words tumbling out. I paid for her acceptance. Made payments to an admissions officer. It wasn't merit. None of it was merit. The silence in the hall was deafening. Sarah's hands gripped the podium so hard her knuckles turned white. Karen's face had turned to stone. I couldn't let them find out like this. Richard gestured vaguely in my direction. Not during her speech about honest achievement. I'm sorry, Sarah. The school board chairman stood up. Dr. Thompson, are you saying you committed admissions fraud? The perfect family photo op had turned into a nightmare. Sarah ran off the stage in tears. Karen was screaming at Richard. The chairman was already on his phone, probably calling Yale. I sat back down, envelopes still sealed. Sometimes the fear of exposure is more powerful than exposure itself. Sometimes the best revenge is just watching someone destroy themselves trying to avoid it. As chaos erupted around Richard, he looked back at me one final time. I gave him a small nod and patted my pocket where the envelopes sat. The ones he'd never know were actually empty. Sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage of all. I found Sarah behind the auditorium, her graduation gown crumpled as she sat on the ground, mascara running down her face. For a moment, I saw her at 5 years old again, crying over a scraped knee, waiting for Daddy to make it better. Go away, she sobbed. Everything's ruined. My graduation, Yale, my whole future. I sat down beside her, my rental suit getting dirty on the ground. No, honey, nothing's ruined. You're still the brilliant girl who earned straight A's. Who led the debate team? Who made me proud every single day? Proud. She looked up, her voice breaking. How can you be proud of me after how I treated you? I called you nobody. I was horrible. Because you're my daughter. My little girl who used to sit on my lap while I fixed her broken toys. Who used to wear my work boots around the house, pretending to help me repair things. She wiped her eyes, smearing more mascara. I remember that. You never said they were too heavy. You just let me follow you around. Like when you were 7 and insisted on helping me paint the garage. You got more paint on yourself than the walls, but you were so proud. A small laugh escaped through her tears. You didn't even get mad. You just said I was learning. Everything I did, I said softly, every extra shift, every repair job, every time I came home exhausted, it was all for you. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to give you every chance in life. While I was busy being ashamed of you. Her voice cracked again. Daddy, I'm so sorry. I let them convince me that status was everything. That your job made you. Less somehow. But you were the one who was always there. Who actually earned everything you gave me. Inside, we could hear chaos still unfolding. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had apparently called them about Richard's admission fraud. The speech, Sarah suddenly sat up straight. My speech about merit and honest work. I was such a hypocrite. Then go back in there and tell the truth. Your truth. She looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in years. Will you walk me back to the stage? Not in the back row this time. Right beside me, where you should have been all along. I helped her to her feet, and together we walked back into the auditorium. Richard was being led out in handcuffs, Karen screaming at anyone who would listen. But Sarah walked right past them, straight to the podium, her hand gripping mine tightly. I'd like to finish my speech, she announced, her voice stronger now. But not the one I prepared. I want to talk about real merit, real achievement. The room fell silent. This man beside me, she gestured to me, tears flowing freely now, is my father. Not the man in the doctor's robes who tried to buy my future. This man in the rental suit who works as a maintenance supervisor. Who taught me that real value isn't in what you own or what you wear, but in what you give. I stood there, my own eyes wet, as my daughter continued. I forgot that for a while. I let myself believe that status meant more than substance. That it mattered more what people thought of you than who you actually were. I was wrong. She turned to face me directly. My father might repair buildings for a living, but he built something much more important. He built every opportunity one ever had, with his own two hands. And I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm proud. Proud to be the daughter of a man who shows up, who works hard, who loves unconditionally even when he's treated with contempt. The audience was silent. Then someone started clapping. Soon the whole room joined in. And yes, Sarah concluded, I might have lost my place at Yale today. But I gained something more valuable. I remembered who I really am. I'm my father's daughter. And that's worth more than any Ivy League acceptance letter. After the ceremony, we took those family photos. Just the two of us, a proud father in his slightly stained rental suit, and his daughter who finally understood what real value looked like. The photographer said they were the most genuine shots of the day. Sarah's Yale acceptance was rescinded, but she didn't seem to mind. She applied to the state university where she could earn her way in honestly. And every weekend, she still comes over to help me with repaired jobs, just like when she was little.